This is what I want to get to, right? I mean, the atrocities I've talked about at the top of the program are unspeakable and should never have been forgotten, and Israel has to do everything it can to make sure that never happens again. But at the moment, the critical factor is the hostages. It's wonderful to see some hostages freed, but we need all of them freed immediately. Tell us about the strategic game being played here, the propaganda game being played here by Hamas, because they're obviously freeing small numbers of hostages to try and help make themselves look like reasonable operators while they work to turn, successfully in many cases, turn public opinion against Israel.
Yes, this is the cheap manipulation that I'm talking about. And we should not follow this track. We are determined to release the prisoners, all of them, not one by one. And we demand that they do that. First of all, the civilians that were not supposed to be taken hostage, and many of them are children of really young age. Some of them are toddlers. It's unbelievable that they still keep them. And we have to remember that first and foremost. And secondly, all this idea of taking hostages is unacceptable. And the way to handle it is not to wait for Hamas to release them, but to act fiercely in order to make it clear to Hamas that if they want to stay alive, they would rather protect those hostages and make sure that they still able to release them on time before we finish the job here and get rid of Hamas in Gaza.
Yossi, you talk about finish the job, and that is getting rid of Hamas in Gaza, and most thinking people would support that. But the tragic reality is surely undeniable, isn't it? That when you go into Gaza, if there is a ground incursion, there will be civilians killed, there will be Israeli soldiers killed, and more than likely hostages killed as well.
All of these eventualities can happen, of course. We realize that it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be costly, especially for our soldiers. That's what we are worried about most, and it might endanger the hostages. That's also true. And we are fully aware that the Palestinians living in Gaza are also going to be in harm's way. And we ask them to leave. We asked them again and again for 2 weeks now. We are asking them to leave. Many of them did. Many of them are still staying there because Hamas doesn't allow them to leave. Yeah. They use them as human shields. We understand that, but
it's despicable.
Be hesitative about the final goal. It is to change fundamentally the situation. We are fighting here not only for us, first and foremost for us, but this is a war on behalf of the entire civilized world. If we don't succeed here in eliminating Hamas in Gaza, the repercussions all over the world are going to be immense. We have to succeed, and we have to do it with a ground incursion, because there's no other way to convince Hamas. If they decide to give up and surrender now, wonderful. But I saw some of their declaration of the last day. They refuse to do that.
That won't be happening. Yossi, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your insights and your frankness. Yossi Kuperwasser there, who used to head up research for the IDF Intelligence Corps.